Hello everybody, this is the Magic Man, the tennis preacher, the prophet, the psychic, coming back at you again. Hello everybody, this is the Magic Man, the tennis preacher, the prophet, and the tennis psychic. And don't y'all forget the tennis pastory, coming back at you with another video. Now people, I'm gonna try to make this video quick. This has to do with the Nadal greatness. I told y'all, a couple commenters said, why haven't I talked about Nadal's greatness? So I want to quickly talk about that. People, this is simple. I got Federer the GOAT over Nadal, but Nadal, this is where I look at Nadal, and I ain't got to give a bunch of stats. We know Nadal got 17 majors, but Nadal, I look at Nadal as he's almost as great as Federer. He's close, really close. And what Federer fans said a few months ago in the comment section, what Federer fans said, it's not even close. Federer is the GOAT. It's not even close. No, it is close. I'm giving Federer the GOAT, but it's close, people. Let me just give y'all an example how close it is and was. People, let's go back just 2 years ago. 2 years ago, Australian Open, 2017. Federer has 17 majors. Nadal has 14 majors. People, it's the fifth set. The fifth set. Nadal was up 3-1. It looked like Nadal is going to win his 15th major and be just 2 behind Federer. But to Federer's credit, under pressure, clutch, I give Federer credit for that. He pulled through, made it 18-14, okay? And Nadal did win the French Open. But imagine if Nadal would have won that, people. It would have been 15. This inside, I had to come inside the car because it was raining outside. Y'all can tell in the video. Actually, the rain wasn't even bothering me. It was I didn't want my camera to get wet. But the rain felt good doing that video on the great Nadal. Now, let me see where I started off. Let me see where I stopped at. Yeah, I was saying that imagine if Nadal would have won the Australian Open 2017, just a couple years ago, where he had 14 majors. Federer has 17. Nadal would have had 15 had he won at 15, and Federer would have just stayed at 17. So I'm just letting y'all know how close it's been in the last few years, and it's still close. And let me just say something else, people. Another reason why I think it's close, I don't have to look at stats. This ain't a stat video. I'm not going to talk about stats in this video. If you listen to Federer, people, Federer thinks the way I think. Federer thinks Nadal is really close to him. Federer doesn't even have to say it, but when he talks about Nadal, you can tell Nadal is right there with him. And Federer has accepted that. I made a video about that Federer sort of has embraced Nadal's greatness. Yeah, if you in recent years, I'm gonna say the last 3 years, and I think the reason why is because Federer's older and he got this respect for Nadal because both of them are way over 30 years old now. Nadal has come through injuries, so Federer, you have to respect somebody that's way over 30 years old who's had as many injuries as Nadal, yet was still able to get 17 majors. Federer's like, man, I got to give you some props. I can't talk bad about you. The tennis prophet is right. You are close to me. And Federer knows he's close. So that Federer fan that says it's not even close, is close. Okay, now, of course, the Federer fan could have been talking from stats such as Nadal doesn't have any ATP finales. Okay, you can look at stuff like that. Or Nadal doesn't have nowhere as near as number one. Nadal doesn't have nowhere near as weeks at number 1 as Federer has. Not even close. In that aspect, They are right, but listen, we're talking straight. And listen, those stats do matter, but I'm talking about people. It's more than just that with Nadal. And Federer knows what I'm talking about here. You may say, well, Tennis Prophet, you just admitted that some of the stats that Federer got, like the #1 stack, how many weeks at #1, ATP finales, Federer got 6, Nadal got 0. So Magic, you just admitted it may not be close, even though Nadal's only 3 behind. No. We're going to still keep it closer. Let me tell you why. Okay, this guy named Rafael Nadal, who I'm putting close to Federer as far as the GOAT, right under Federer, and I mean right under, almost a touch him. This Rafael Nadal guy, if y'all... And remember, we talking about his whole career. We talking about, when you talk about the GOAT, of course, you talking about all of these guys' total career. So we're going to start back. This Rafael Nadal guy, he won his first major at the age of 18. Okay. All right. Now, somebody could say, well, Magic Man, okay, that's good, but Federer still ended up with 20 and all these other stats. But it ain't even about, well, let's forget Federer right now. This 18-year-old guy, now I'm explaining to y'all why Nadal is so great and why he's right under Federer, why he's so great. And we don't have to even go through any statistics. We don't have to go through that he's the god of clay, and that he's won 11 French Opens. I'm not even talking about that. I'm not going to even talk about no French Opens in this thing, okay? Not, at least, not like Nadal's achievements on the clay. This Rafael Nadal character, this guy, this 18-year-old Rafael, I'm talking about the 18-year-old, he beat a guy named Federer, who was #1 in the world, who was already Roger Federer. Federer had already won the Wimbledon and the Australian Open, and we was headed towards the French Open, okay? But this 18-year-old Nadal, who you all don't think is close to Federer, those of you who do not think that, I'm not saying everybody thinks that, but that Federer fan forgot that 18-year-old Nadal, he beat Federer in the 2004 Miami Open. Before Nadal even won a major, he was already beating Federer. And those Federer fans who say that this Nadal is not that great and close to Federer, they forgot something. The Miami Open, when I last checked, it was hard court. It's not clay. So it ain't like somebody can say, well, of course, he beat Nadal. He beat Nadal because it was Nadal beat Federer because it was on clay. No, the Miami Open was on hard court. All right. So now, let's move it on now. Let's keep moving. But everybody thought that was it for this 18-year-old Nadal versus this Federer. Okay. This 18-year-old Nadal dominated Federer on clay, beat him in 4 French Open finals, made him break down a couple of times. This 18-year-old Nadal, who has 17 majors now, he was up until 2 years ago. Up until 2 years ago, Federer, to his credit, Federer has beaten Nadal the last 4 or 5 times, but that was just the last 2 years ago. This Nadal beat Federer in 4, almost 4. It was like they were not consecutive. 3 of them was consecutive, I believe, and I guess the other one was it was not consecutive, the latter one. But he beat him in 4 French Open finals. Okay, I think everybody forgot that. Some people didn't forget it. We know Nadal fans didn't forget that. Yeah, this Rafael Nadal. So you may say, okay, Magic Man, we got what you said. We know about the head-to-head, and we know, everybody knows that Federer had trouble with Nadal, okay? And Magic Man, you say yourself that the head-to-head shouldn't be a determining factor who is the GOAT. Well, yes, I did say it's not the determining factor who is the GOAT, but what the head-to-head can show, it can show how good of a player and how great of a player this young Rafael Nadal was and will become. Okay, that he was able to dominate a player as great as Federer on clay. And then, so we already went through, so we went through the one thing, 18-year-old beat Federer the first time they played on a non-clay surface. This 18 to 21 to 22-year-old Rafael Nadal beat Federer in the big moments at the French Open finals, the biggest moments on clay. And then, number 3, this Rafael Nadal, he came to Federer's, when, 2008? I guess that's right. He came to Federer's favorite surface and beat him there. And then came to Federer's Australian Open hard court and beat him there in 2009. So you may be saying, okay, Magic Man, we get it. Federer had trouble with Nadal in the past. What does this have to do with what you were saying about he's almost as great as Federer? Yeah, it has a lot to do with it. See, now listen, if Nadal would have ended up with only 8 majors, then all this stuff I just said wouldn't matter. But the fact that he got 17 majors, plus is only 3 behind, plus all the stuff I just said, how he's beat Federer in the past, in the big moments. And here's another point. Now, this is what really pisses Federer fans off, but they can't come back and not piss them off. This is what they're disappointed with about Federer. And this is what they can't stand about Nadal, but they got to give him credit quietly. Nadal is the one that stopped Federer from winning like the Grand Slam. Because Federer was good on clay, but Nadal was just the god of clay. You understand? Federer got one of the best records on clay of all time. He's like in the top 5 easily. He could be in the top 4 percentage-wise as far as winning percentage. So it ain't that Federer can't play on clay, okay? It's that Nadal was just that good. So Nadal kept Federer from winning the Grand Slam probably twice or 3 times. And so he kept Federer, not even probably, he kept Federer from at least having 27 to 30 majors. Probably Federer would have 25 majors had he not let Nadal dominate him on a clay. All right? Now, okay, let me see if there's anything else I want to say. Yes, I want to lead up. So, but Nadal is almost as great as Federer. Now, here's another thing. What makes Nadal is almost as great as Federer is Nadal was able to make the Djokovic versus Nadal rivalry one of the greatest rivalries of all time. And Federer, he really couldn't step in there. I mean, Nadal, this guy who some Federer fans don't think is close to Federer as far as the GOAT. They don't think he's close. But this Rafael Nadal, he was able to make between like 2010, definitely 2011 to 2014, almost 15. I mean, Federer sort of got back in the midst here and there in the Wimbledon, of course. And I think Federer 2012, I know Federer won the Wimbledon. But pretty well, Nadal made the Djokovic rivalry about him and the Djokovic and Nadal. Nadal didn't allow Federer to come in there and penetrate that and make it. They made it a duet. It was a dual thing between Djokovic and Nadal. It wasn't a threesome. It didn't become a threesome. In other words, if Nadal was a lesser player, Probably Federer would have been part of this thing. They pretty well, Djokovic, it was pretty well, people, Djokovic and Nadal in all the finals. And I've been in about 2 or 3 years, I think they got a record that it was Djokovic and Nadal in almost all the finals. Okay, almost all of them. Okay, so this Rafael Nadal, like I said before, I don't have to look at any stats with this. And I can just hear Federer talk. Federer, listen, Federer fans may not agree with this, but Federer agrees with this. He know Nadal is right there close to him. I'm talking about as far as the GOAT. I'm not talking, I think Federer, and Federer has accepted this. And I like that about Fed. He knows how great. Yeah, if we gave Federer, let's say the Federer fans all around the world hosted a big dinner for Federer. It's only for Federer. No other players are allowed. And they got a big table for Federer, food, champagne, caviar, everything. And let's just say Federer say, thank you all my Federer fans. I don't want any players coming in here spoiling my party. Because I'm the GOAT, arguably the GOAT. And let's say Nadal knocks on the door and say, can I come in and sit down with Fed? He's my homie. We used to get down on the court together. Get down and play. I used to beat old Fed back in the day. He beat me the last 4 times, but I used to beat old Fed. Can I come in and sit down with Federer? The Federer fans are going to say, no, this is all about Federer's dinner, everything. But I think if I said, okay, Federer fans, let me go ask Federer, does Nadal deserve to sit at the same table with him? Even though he may have a little bigger champagne bottle, a little bigger steak, a little bigger plate, a little bigger table, but, well, Federer may sit in a bigger chair, slightly bigger, but can Nadal sit beside him in a slightly less chair? Does Nadal deserve to sit at the table with Federer? Now, Federer fans gonna say, no, Nadal shouldn't come in here. I think Federer is gonna say, nah, man, let Nadal come in here, man. He deserves to sit at the table with me. Okay? Y'all get what I'm saying? That's my perspective on Nadal. He's very close to Federer. Very close. As far as the GOAT. He's right there. Alright? Tennis preacher, tennis prophet, and the tennis psychic. Have a good one.